tip.
Good afternoon. It is March 27th, 2019. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by William Nose and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Will? I have some great news. I think it's flown under the radar a little bit. I don't even know if you've heard about this, but the Celtics beat the Cavaliers last night, which means they locked up a spot in the playoffs. We're going to the playoffs. This plucky little underdog team only had one All-Star. We're in the playoffs. How about that?
Oh, man. You know, we should start over the podcast. This is a sad way to open. Did you just call us an underdog? That just happened?
I think in the past couple of weeks, if not longer, I just got to readjust expectations. The beginning of the year expectations, way out the window. Recalibrate. Hey, we made the playoffs. The floor could have been a lot lower.
Point.
And still means we're in the playoffs. It means more and more basketball. We haven't fallen all the way to the bottom of the barrel yet. This could get worse.
You know, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm hearing we're constantly in the news now too. We're that team, and the Lakers didn't make the playoffs,
we really are.
And we're still that team. The Lakers did make the playoffs. LeBron's not in the playoffs, and we are still the team right now that everybody's talking about and is worried about. And I'm not calling us underdogs. I'm calling us a disappointment. Regardless of how we do, we could even make it to the conference finals. This year was a disappointment. I'm very concerned of what's going to happen in the offseason. I don't think we're going to be able to keep this together. I think it's inevitable that it blows up. The only way I think we stay together is if we somehow make it to the actual finals and not just the conference finals. I don't think you can just throw a Band-Aid on this thing right now. There's some very serious problems between just bad chemistry, too many bodies, people calling out one another, showing up some nights and not showing up other. I'm not even. Let's not even get into it. Let's talk about some better news. All right, you want to talk about some better news right now? Let's talk some more Boston news. Gronkowski has announced his retirement. I'm not buying it. Just straight up right now. I'm telling you, you're going to see Gronk play again. Gronk is going to catch another pass from Brady before he's really done. We're going to see one more. I think we're going to see one more. Will not be shocked if it's not till week 10, week 8.
Yeah, what week?
I think you'll see Gronk again by week 10. I'll see week 10.
Week 10? Okay.
Week 10, and then he probably doesn't even really play till week 12. I'll say that. Maybe he's working out, and then we're trying him out all week 10. You start hearing the rumors rumbling, but I really feel like he'll be in the lineup by week 12. He may be on the roster by 10, but I think he'll be in the lineup, and he'll be blocking. He'll be doing a lot of other stuff. I think we'll have him doing red zone packages, all the stuff we used to do with him. It'll be much more limited, and I don't think we're going to wear on him and rely on him quite like we used to. But at the end of the day, when somebody's going to get hurt, which is inevitable, we're going to need a good blocker, and he's by far one of the better ones and an awesome option right now. I don't think we've seen the last of him. Real quick, what do you think? Do you think we've seen the last of him, or do you think we actually have a chance of seeing him play again?
I thought that if he had retired immediately right after the Super Bowl, that was going to be less of a red flag. Where it's been a couple months now. Like, he's had some time to really think about it. And then the next morning, the agent comes out and goes, "Well, if Tom Brady calls him up and says, 'Hey, I need you,' then yeah, he'll probably come back." It just there was no time to even let it kind of breathe a little bit. Like, the news came out in the afternoon, like evening, and then it wasn't even 24 hours later, barely even 12 hours later.
Yeah.
I'd love for him to come back. I think he's definitely at the point where mini camps and any sort of the beginning of the season, he doesn't really need to be around for that. He's going to know what he's doing. We do have a history of success when our top guys don't play at the beginning of the year. Brady was suspended. Last year, Edelman was suspended. So if he doesn't come back till midway through, hey, give another young tight end, nice up and comer, give him a shot, and then he comes in when the real games are starting. I wouldn't be mad about it.
Well, while I'm kind of living in the fantasy era right now, thinking that this is not actually going to end, I guess we'll live in the reality and talk about this right now, that he is currently retired, and he's definitely going to rank up there as one of the top tight ends of all time. I actually think he has a better argument than Brady does of being the best at his position of all time. I think the numbers stand up for that. When he was at his prime, he was unbelievable, just unstoppable. There was no answers for him. He was too fast for a big guy. He was too big for a little guy. Just the biggest nightmare of a matchup you could ever have. I think we might as well just talk about that right now, which is the actual reality that he's announced his retirement. So where does Gronk rank on greatest tight ends of all time?
Well, he's the best.
Is
He didn't play for as long as some of the other guys, but uh, can you think of a player that's more fun to watch, like a Boston athlete that was more fun to watch than Gronk when he was at his prime of not only making ridiculous catches of once he caught the ball, it could take a while before a handful of guys took him down. I happened to see that one. I think it was against Kansas City. But I'm not sure. I think it's a red team. He's going left to right. He catches it. Guys on him, kind of drag him down. Another guy kind of hits him. He's still going up. He's kind of going out of bounds. Oh nope! Out of the out of the arms for another 30 yards, almost for a touchdown. They get tackled right inside the 5 or the 10. But like every time it was just rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, and he's just running people over and just I don't know exactly why he had this kind of like 100% approval rating, but it just worked for him.
I mean, he was impossible to tackle. Yeah, I think the other thing that's not talked about enough, and will hopefully get enough talk, and maybe after a year or two, when this truly becomes reality that his retirement's official, uh, there was a lot of rule changing during the Gronk area right now. Like it kind of shifted away from you can't hit him up top, you got to go low, and he was out 1 year because of all that. I think every single one of his injuries was related to a rule change that was supposed to protect him, but just the style of play, it also feels like it just played against him. I think Gronk could have had a much longer career of just running over guys who were trying to hit him up high, and instead it was just guys going for his legs every single time. Do you think that actually affected everything?
It's kind of a toss up. He did have the leg injury, but he also had uh, uh, broke his arm more than once. He's had back problems since college. That's the one thing that the retirement I think could stick. Of I don't know how much pain this guy's in. You know, if he's waking up every day and it's just like, man, this really hurts, and he does like the whole fun, party guy kind of thing, but it could really be like, man, this really hurts, and he takes this time off and says, "Ooh, you know what? Waking up and it doesn't hurt and throb and everything is just sore. It might be a little better to just be done with it." So I think it could be a pain tolerance kind of thing.
Well, regardless of the future, I think we're always going to appreciate Gronk. He's won multiple Super Bowls for us. He gave us a bunch of highlights, and then the off-field entertainment of not only being he has to be easily the most fun Patriot of all time, and that's saying a lot. I mean, Brady's really the only guy who's been around that we got to know more off the field, but for the Patriots to allow him to be him, and him to basically play within this play between the lines that the Patriots require, because I don't think it's an easy being an athlete, being a Patriot either. I do think they limit you and all that. But I kind of just want to applaud both sides for making this possible. Phenomenal to watch. I really enjoyed it. I hope we get to see it again. I don't think we've seen the end of it. But let's transition into retirement right now. I feel like this jersey retirement thing is like taking over the NBA right now. I feel like a year ago it was the flashback like highlights they would do when players would return, the memorials or whatever they would do. And I'm kind of lost with all this. I think teams and franchises have the right to retire jerseys, but I think the order of it and the desperation of it when you're a franchise that doesn't really have a lot in the rafters, it just feels so fake to me because this isn't really that important, or is it? Maybe I'm just devaluing it too much. But with the Nick Collison night, I mean, Nick Collison he's a borderline bench player for his career, and he's getting his number retired. And then last night, I think Chris Bosh is a great player, but don't you think, does he have his jersey even retired in Toronto yet? I don't even know if that happened. Has that happened? It just felt
I
kind of
wouldn't think
funny.
so.
I don't think that's happened yet. I thought it was really weird that, I don't know, when I say Chris Bosh, do you immediately put him in Miami or do you put him in the Raptors jersey? Like what pops into your head?
Almost a Houston Rocket. No, I'm just kidding. I think it has more to do with his circumstances, where he was still it was at the tail end of his prime, but he still had years left, and then just had the blood clots where he was playing, and then it's like something's not quite right, and then it was over, and there was always a few years there, maybe might be able to do something. He's getting a second opinion, and just it's so awful where it's like something inside of your body where it's not like a Gordon Hayward injury where it's like, oh yeah, you broke your foot, that's really bad. Okay, here's the timetable. Here's what you have to do to recover. There's a for sure, or at least you're going to heal to a certain point for sure, and then hopefully it goes even farther. But with the blood clots, it was just no good. He did win or not Super Bowls. Switch football to basketball too quick. He did win two championships with the Heat. He was the third guy on those teams, but I do think that he was a crucial piece. Without him, I don't know if they do get those championships.
I think for a little bit there, he was actually their most consistent piece. It was the other guys. Wade was going back and forth of, am I healthy, am I not healthy? And LeBron, let's not forget the beginning of that. LeBron had to change a lot, and it was both emotionally and like physically. Like he kind of redeveloped himself for those early years in Miami. I mean, it wasn't an immediate success. I think Bosh was the only guy from the very beginning to the very end. He was Chris Bosh the whole time.
No, because he struggled too as well. Because they all had to give something up to figure it out, and I think it took him a little while as well. I don't think he was just, no, this is exactly where I want to be. I think if anything, maybe Wade was the one that could stay the most consistent because it was his team already. He kind of was able to keep what he was doing for at least a little bit before he kind of handed it off to LeBron of like, you take care of it. But it is tricky when you go from Toronto where you're the guy to now you're with the guys, and I don't think you should be penalized or looked down upon because you didn't figure it out right away. It's going to take a little while.
All right. Well, maybe we don't have to do this on the spot right now, but really what I'm kind of looking for is I feel like there's no unwritten rules or written rules on this jersey retirement process, and it just seems like it doesn't make any sense to me. I think we need some standards. All right. I don't know if we're the guys to do it, but maybe we're the perfect guys to do it. I don't know. I don't like this jersey retirement. It just seems so cheesy to me, and I get it. Like if I'm a player, I'm not going to say no to it. But I mean, yesterday they don't even sell out. The Miami's fans don't even show up for it. There's like empty seats. It's I don't know.
I think that's going to be one of the issues. Is that I think it's going to happen more often, which is going to make it less special.
Well, Nick Collison right there ruined it.
Because I think that the teams want to make it they want to be viewed as, hey, if you put in the time and effort here, we'll take care of you. But you get to a certain point of, well, you got, triple digit, numbers up there, names, or it can get a little bit out of control. I think you're talking about rules to make, it's got to be on a not individual, on like on a team basis. Like I think the bars are just set differently, and it just has more to do with their fans. I'm sure the Heat fans were thrilled. The ones that showed up were thrilled that Chris Bosh got his number retired. I don't really know many Heat fans these days.
All right, there aren't any. There aren't any. They're gone. They're empty. They don't. They're struggling. Yeah, they're not even that bad of a team.
They're out in LA, right?
Yeah, probably.
They're out in LA, right?
I don't know where they traveled to, but I don't know. I don't think there were really that many to begin with. I mean, even when they were having a successful year, ticket sales were up, but I don't think it.
All right, here's a question for you. Bring it a little closer to home. Does Kevin Garnett get his jersey retired in Boston?
Yeah, I think he's going to, because I think when you think of Kevin Garnett, you think of him doing the anything is possible, or you maybe think of him Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think you think of MVP season with Sam Cassell and Terrell Sprewell. I don't think that comes up to your mind immediately.
Would you be upset if the jersey wasn't retired?
No, not at all. Because this is the other thing that is a crazy standard right now. Where if you look in the rafters in Boston, it's like, wow, all right, there's a lot of championship rings, a lot of guys up there with a ton of accolades of just one after another. There's so many, and I understand it's an older franchise that had a bunch of success in the '80s, and just grew off from all of that. Like it's hard to. It's kind of an apples and orange when you look at Boston, you look at Oklahoma City. But Oklahoma City, if you're going to start off with something, don't start off with Nick Collison. Nick Collison's the first guy you want to go up there.
It just seems like they could have done something else with him.
Anything else. He can have the day. Why has he got to have his jersey up there, though? We can have a Nick
Yeah,
Collison day. That seems okay. Let's have Nick
that
Collison
makes
bobblehead night every year on that day. That's fine.
yeah, that makes more sense.
What
Where it's like
what
it,
about
it would be
Isaiah
perfect.
Thomas in Boston right now? Because if you ask me, in the 2019 standard of jersey retirement, I think it gets it. I think it had enough of an impact in Boston for the few years he was there. He didn't win anything, but
Yeah, he didn't win anything.
how's he any different than Nick Collison right now?
Well, that's what you say. Like the bar is different for different franchises, and also Collison played his entire career there, where Isaiah Thomas was only there for a few years.
Wow, I don't know. Maybe I'm just the only one. I don't know. Maybe I'm a Boston guy, and this is just how I'm looking at it because I know what it takes to get your jersey in the rafters in Boston, and I'm just trying to figure out what it takes to get one anywhere else. And it doesn't. It just doesn't seem as special to me. It seems like everybody's reaching to be like these other franchises, all these historic franchises, and that's probably what they should be doing. But you should be doing that by winning, not by just retiring guys jerseys. Like I feel like they're trying to put themselves in that class with Boston right now, and they're not going about it just the wrong way. It's not even that I don't want them to be in the class. I just want them to do it better. All right, be better, and I'll gladly accept it. I will gladly talk about this, no problem, on the podcast when Oklahoma City and Russell Westbrook win the championship. All right, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being picky right now. I don't know. I'm in a bad mood. What can I say? It's been a long couple of days. But
I'll allow it.
real quick little story here. I don't know if you saw this the other. Did you see the Tim Duncan kickboxing video? Apparently he's gotten
Yes, I
super
did.
into all that. So meanwhile, all these guys are getting their jerseys retired. He looked in shape, man. I actually think he looked in better shape than we saw him his last year in San Antonio. Shout out to Tim Duncan doing some kickboxing. I'll make sure to attach the video of Tim Duncan practicing some kickboxing on the website. You can check out the website and all the old podcasts on there at lcalcb.com. Definitely check that out. And then follow Zach on his Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
always posting good stuff on there. Keep up to date with everything. Get all your latest NBA and NCAA trending basketball stuff. So let's talk some tournament stuff. I feel like we probably should have got into a little bit earlier, but my frustrations with the Celtics and losing Gronkowski, I can only handle so much losses. And then the Nick Collison thing just sends me over the top of being like, God, this is just things in sports that are frustrating me that are unrelated to anybody else's frustrations. But you know what? I'm actually having a pretty good tournament right now. You want to update the listeners on our current head-to-head matchup with our own brackets, and then we'll break down maybe some of the leftover matchups.
Sure. The way we do it, I'm not sure if we explain this. We go head to head in three different leagues. We have the podcast league, which if you're listening, sure hope that you joined and that you're part of it. Will, you are up in that league by 5 points.
I'm so scared I might win. I'm really scared of I'll win.
There is a close little friends league with only a handful of people in it. I am winning that one. That is we call it high risk, high reward. You get bonuses for upset picks. I'm winning that by 9. And then we are in a high school one on ESPN, and that one we are tied. Now,
I think
what's
you got
different
better
this year than from past years is that the tournament went pretty chalk, but we have a chance to get 15 to 16 of the next games picked correctly, which is unusual.
Yeah, well, I think the difference is going to come in the next couple days here. I think we're going to know who's going to win. Versus the past couple years, it's kind of hard to update the listeners because we do 3 brackets. I do like that we do 3 brackets, not just one, because I like rooting for different brackets. I never feel like I'm going to get the perfect one on the first pick. It might take a couple tries for me to get that perfect bracket. So I like that we get to fill out a couple. But last year, in the last 2 years, actually, we've done this. I know I've lost both of them, but they were both very close. I think had the champions swapped
Yes.
both of these past years, they easily could have gone either way. So basically,
It's been 2-1 every time.
in a very close 2-1. And right now, I think this is the closest our matchups have ever been. I mean, it's 1-1-1-1 right now, but they're all very close. I think even the one you're winning in, I think I could easily still come back and win if some things went my way, and vice versa for the other ones. I don't think any of us have a very strong lead. So I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous, but I feel good about my picks. I think a lot of our picks are very similar, which is going to make the few changes and the few differences we have just super crucial because of whatever way that goes. I think that's the winner that's it's going to play out for.
Yeah, if you want to get into a little more of the nitty gritty of it.
Of our matchups, or you want to talk about some of the? You know what? Let's talk about just last week. Opening day. I actually, you know what? I actually there wasn't that much madness, and I kind of hate to say that. I looked back at some of the highlights even today, and it's like, all right, there were a couple good games. The first day was good. Second day, not so much, and then a couple of days after, man, we got nothing but blowouts. Did the seeding do too much chalk this year? I feel like they got it right too much. There's a lot of favorites, a lot of chalk on the board. So what did you take away from last week? What favorite thing you saw? Something you're looking forward to? What do we got?
Favorite thing I saw Ja Morant in person, which we just realized earlier this week that we saw Morant play last year, but last year his team got beat by 20 points and he was Demetrius Morant. He changed his name, which really threw me off. But this year saw him with all the hype coming into it, and he played the second game of the first session, and the first game was the FSU Vermont, and it was in Hartford, Connecticut, so not that far from UVM, respectively. So that place was pretty full. UVM fans, they were pumped. That game kind of got away from it at the end, but 3/4 of the way through was a competitive game, so that was fun. And by the time that Ja Morant came out, that place was absolutely full, and everyone was really excited to see him. It was probably one of the most exciting 20-point wins that I've seen, because even when they were up, he was still making passes. It was when it got to that level when he threw down one of the nastiest dunks that I've seen, let alone seen in person. If you haven't seen that, all you have to do is just Google Ja Morant, Murray State, and it's got to be one of the first things that comes up. So that was the most exciting thing that I saw. People are whining a little bit that there wasn't madness, there wasn't buzzer beaters, there wasn't a lot of upsets. All of that is true, but there's a difference between quality basketball and close basketball. So I think some of that should be thrown in there. And one of the issues is when there is a lot of upsets, it means in the later rounds you're going to have weaker basketball. There's a reason that they were seeded lower. I mean, sir, there's some Cinderella teams that go on a run, but sooner or later they meet their match. So I think, as it may have been a little more boring last week, this week we should have some more higher profile matchups and really see some top teams going at it. And it could make for a much more exciting end of the tournament.
I would say, yeah, we're gonna have a hell of a couple days right now. I think we got some really good talent. I think there's a lot of talent left. Like there wasn't any team that lost, or even some of the upsets that I was like, oh, that's a real waste. That's a real shame. Like there was a shame to watch a bunch of talent like that get wasted or upset or something like that. They just didn't show up. I think a lot of the teams that we were expecting to showed up. All right, like teams like Auburn looked really good. They have a whole bunch of talent on that team. I'm very shocked by that. LSU is like another team. I think everybody knew both those teams had a bunch of talent. It was just a matter of, can they put it together? Can they keep it together? I mean, Auburn almost blew it on the first day, but I'm really excited. I think the big takeaway from the opening couple rounds, though, has to be that Duke game where Zion comes. All right, let me ask you this: you're a Duke fan, right? So obviously there's some bias to all this. Was Zion clutch with that, because he makes the and one play? You're down 3, but then he misses the free throw, and somehow conveniently, actually, hold on, there's a lot more to all this. Zion, you guys are down 3. Zion goes at Taco, the 7'6", 7'7" center, for VCF, and he fouls him out too. Because I think that's another huge factor of all this, that he fouls out the center on the other team, who's had a pretty good impact. He actually is. He's a much better player than I was giving him credit for.
He had an amazing impact.
Yeah, I actually
it was
think,
like, what do you do with that? It was it'd be like if you or me playing pickup went against a guy that's like 6'10", where it's just like, man, we don't go against guys that are this tall usually. It's like you get to the rim and there's guys most of the guys are taller than us. It's like, okay, I kind of know a little bit what I got to do. It's like, this guy's got an extra like 2 feet, with wingspan than what I'm used to, and trying to get around him, you could just tell like trying to figure it out, and you're trying to drive, and then what exactly do you do? And the guy doesn't need to jump. You can't pump fake him. He's just standing there with his hands up.
Outside of his free throw shooting, very, very impressed with him. All right, I actually think he's going to be a decent. He's getting drafted, right? Someone's going to give him a chance. Maybe.
I think he gets a chance. I'm not sure if he.
I don't know if he makes
That's
it,
one of the things that
but I think he gets a chance.
Duke wasn't able to exploit with their personnel shooting wise. But
anyways, we get getting back to the
how
play
do you stick
here.
him out there and he's got to chase somebody? Even like someone like Marcus Gasol. Marcus Gasol can hit threes pretty regularly, so he can't just. And with the NBA, you can't just stick a guy in the paint. You'll have defensive 3 seconds, so he's gonna have to move. And I thought he moved. He moved a lot better than I expected. I thought maybe we would be able to beat him on the break of just. He just wasn't going to be quick enough to get back. He was really hustling, and yeah, it definitely worked. And
one thing I think that
definitely a unique player that I hope we don't have to see him again.
Well, I can't imagine you guys actually running into him again. Anyways, he's having a really big impact on the game. All right, he's controlling the boards. He's a factor driving in. Zion goes in down 3, gets the and one, fouls him out, which I thought was a really clutch play. I was so happy that he didn't settle for the 3 because he'd just taken the 3. I think the play before.
He just settled for the 3.
They get the ball back. He goes right at the rim. He goes right at this guy. He finishes it. And then he misses the free throw. You guys get the rebound, put it in, and the rest is history from there. I think not only was this a clutch play or was this not a clutch play? Coming from a Duke fan, was that a clutch play? Because he missed the free throw. Let's not forget that. Like, I think if Taco's in there, you don't get the rebound after. So was this a clutch play or not a clutch play?
I mean, it's 2 parts. So part A was clutch, part B was not, which is he is like a 60-something% foul shooter. But it seems like in the past, and this could easily, math might not follow this up, but I feel like in big spots, he's made the free throws when he's needs to. So normally when you got a 60% guy on the line, he really needs to make the foul shot. It's like, I don't know. But it was like seeing Zion's like, oh, he's got this for sure. He already did the hard part. And like he makes these when like they're really important. And then just absolutely just short rimmed it. Oh man. Yeah. So I guess it's like part A. The part A part was clutch. The part B part wasn't clutch.
Well, I don't know. I think he's kind of getting bailed out a little bit on that. If this is some other guys, I don't know why that's missed free throws not being talked about enough. Maybe I'm just nitpicking at this, but the way he's being treated and kind of the pedestal everyone's putting him on, and granted, we're doing that ourselves. He didn't do it. He didn't announce like, "Hey, I'm this, I'm that." All right, he's a very humble guy. But him missing the free throw, I think, is an underrated thing that needs to be talked about and is probably going to be focused on a little bit going forward. I mean, he played an incredible game. I actually think he came up very clutch. For being a guy that doesn't really need the ball to make a difference in the game, he finds a way to get the ball. He managed to do that in that game. So I want to say I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on some clutchness here, but I was very disappointed that he missed the free throw. And obviously a little bit more disappointed that Duke was able to come away with the victory. I had overtime marked all over that. I was ready. That was a great game. Of all the games, I think that was the best one. And I'm not just saying it because the best player of the tournament was in it. I just thought it was back and forth, some lead changes. You didn't really know who was going to win till the end. And then it felt like Duke was going to lose, and then suddenly Duke won. No better madness than that.
It was not enjoyable for me.
Oh man, you must have been stressing for sure. I could only imagine you.
Yeah, that because it was just Duke's been coming out slow every game, and it's just like they got this huge guy, and it's like, well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna figure something out. They had some really interesting defensive assignments where they put Taco Falls, who's the big 7'6" guy, put him on our point guard, and by put him on our point guard, I mean just didn't guard our point guard and just dared him to shoot. It was very similar to, a lot of people brought this up of a few years ago when Golden State was first coming into their own, and they put Andrew Bogut on Tony Allen in a similar thing of just, hey, I'm going to protect the paint, and if Tony Allen wants to shoot, knock yourself out. And it was just like, nothing's working. We went on our run right before halftime. It was like, oh, okay, got some breathing room. They came right back, and then just the rest of the time was just Taco doing stuff, and we just could not get away. And then the way I've been describing it to people is there was like 5 50-50 things at best that had to happen down the stretch, and everything went Duke's way every time, and that's just not likely to happen. But at the end of the day, survive and advance. You need a little bit of luck in this tournament.
So last week on the podcast, we talked about a couple sections of the bracket of some teams we said to keep an eye out for, a couple teams that I said they should be a little worried, a little concerned. I actually think we did pretty good on that. I mean, Kentucky almost loses to Wofford.
If McGee, who the game before set the record for all-time three-pointers made, and has this kind of Curry-esque-ness to him of just his feet are pointed the wrong way, and he's turning, and he's got his eyes closed basically, and he's shooting it, and you don't feel like that was a terrible, terrible shot, and he goes 0 for 12. He's not gonna go 0 for 12 in his career ever again. I'm sure he hasn't up to this point.
I think if he makes two of those, I mean, one, they got a shot at winning. Two, that they may even have to lead at some points. It felt like I assumed there's no way this guy's gonna go 0 for. There's no way. He's too good of a shooter. And even if these guys get on him, it's going to get one. I mean, even the worst shooters are going to make 1 out of 12. I mean, anyways, that had a lot to do with just Wofford. I really like the Wofford guy. I knew that kind of going in. I would say I have 2 teams right now who I think should be a little worried, possibly 3. I'm most worried about Virginia, and just because they do nothing to make you feel comfortable about them. They do absolutely nothing. They take away any confidence you ever have in this goddamn team. They just take it away. And then all it took was one half of the opening round. They're down like 12 at half to a 16 seed. Now, granted, they ended up winning by 25, but to a team that just lost to a 16 last year, like this isn't a couple years ago. This isn't an old era. This is even some of the same players, same coaches. This is just a year ago, and these guys are down at half again. And you know what? I feel like everybody's kind of sleeping on Oregon. Oregon, I thought looked really good. That point guard was balling at the end there. I have that written down as a trap game all over for all the right reasons. I have a hard time trusting Virginia. Anyone who trusts them, man, more power to you. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how anyone does it. And I think another team that's a little bit in trouble, and they've played very well. And it's nothing against them. I think Auburn's got a lot of talent, and I have UNC, and I think almost every one of my finals, and I think winning 2 of them. But I really think that's going to be a tough matchup for them. They think they have some of the bodies to keep up with everything.
Oh no, you have UNC in 2 and UVA in 1.
Oh God!
But you have them in the Final Four of all.
And this is why I'm nervous, because the only 2 matchups I'm very concerned about, and the only 2 matchups I think aren't going to chalk out right now, are those 2. I think Kentucky has made it through, and Kentucky will get through Houston. I think they will.
No, I don't think PJ Washington's going to play. He got out of the boot last night, or he got out of the cast last night. He was seizing a walking boot today and did not practice today.
I don't think Houston is as bad of a matchup for Kentucky. Versus, I thought Wofford was going to just shoot, and then they were going to be forced to score. And it's not that Kentucky has a hard time scoring. It just doesn't – I don't think it comes as natural to them. So when another team comes out and is just lighting up points, especially when they're hitting threes like Wofford is, I think that was going to be a bad matchup for them. Houston could do a similar thing, but I don't know if I see that quite as much. Gonzaga, Florida State, that's another one. I think Florida State –
that is our big matchup.
That's a big one for us.
And that's I'm not going to say that's the biggest one, just because you're UNC heavy, I'm Duke heavy. So if one of those 2 teams loses, that's a big bump for the other team. But in this round coming up, you picked FSU in every bracket, and I picked Gonzaga in every bracket. So that's a big swing right there.
All right. Outside of our personal predictions right now, any predictions for upsets right now? I got Oregon and Auburn circled as potential upsets for this upcoming round. Anything catching your eye? A little Virginia Tech, maybe?
I sure hope not. They're gonna. They already got us once. We didn't have Zion. They didn't have Justin Blackman, who is one of their better players. He just came back starting for the tournament, so I'm sure he's getting better, getting his legs underneath him. Buzz Williams is a good coach. He's been around a while, and I'm sure He's pretty defensive minded. He's going to come in with a plan. I think that what UCF did, kind of just daring Duke to shoot and just packing the paint. It's really going to create an opportunity for Coach K to just kind of add to his legend of, oh, they decided to do this. Oh, well, we did this.
All right. So outside of Virginia Tech, you're predicting to win. Any other upsets? That's what I took away
No,
from that.
it's been chalk the whole time. It's going to continue. Favorites are going to win.
Yeah. Well, I do think we're going to see some better games. I'm not expecting nearly as many blowouts. So make sure you tune in. Everything kicks off tomorrow night or day, depending on your time zone. Make sure you go check out our website. Get up to date on our old previous bets. You can see all the old consequences from the past years. LCALCB.com, as well as check out Sold by Will for all your San Diego real estate needs. Let's transition into.
Oh, I got one last little thing for March Madness. In the podcast league right now, the winner is Dewey, my sister's boyfriend, and found out a couple days ago that he has never filled out a bracket before. This is his first time filling one out. So that's good for all of us that have been focused on this for years and years.
Well, beginner's luck is a thing.
Shout out to Dewey.
All right. Well, speaking of another update, we let's go back to our favorite beer diet guy. Do we know his name? Let's do a quick update on that. Let's talk about some Hawaiian Judge trial stuff here. So anyways, I think 2 podcasts ago, probably a couple right now. Whenever Lent began, we talked about a guy who was going to drink nothing but beer for his entire 40 days of Lent, and Zach's got the update right now, albeit maybe a little bit of a minor update, but is he still doing it?
As of Saturday, he's still doing it. His name is Del Hall. He's from Ohio. The update, like I said, nothing too crazy. But he's down 25 pounds.
Is that healthy?
That was my thought of that seems like a lot in a couple of weeks. That could be an issue, but I don't know how heavy he was to start off. I know at the beginning of a new diet, you can really get the weight off quick. It'll be interesting to keep following up as it continues to go. If he
all right, now
keeps it up.
Let me ask you this now. Obviously, alcohol is something you can become addicted to. 40 days straight of nothing of it. What do you lean off it after? There has to be like a protocol here, right? Is it? I feel like he's almost accepting. I think that's easily enough time to form an addiction. Does any of the articles cover any of that? I mean, beyond now he's losing weight. That seems unhealthy, or at least that amount of weight in this amount of time. Do they mention anything on all that? Does he have any concerns of this kind of stuff?
No, there's really not a ton on it. It's I haven't checked out his YouTube page where there might be more updates on that. I've been following the articles.
All right. Well, let's not
but it's from the 1600s, and maybe it's real hearty. Maybe it's more of a closer to a soup than a beer, and that's how it's working. I just don't know how if you having beer for all your substance, how you're just like too tipsy to get anything done.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. We'll keep you updated on that. Our good old friend Mr. Hall there, we'll let you know how he's doing. He's not even halfway yet, right? What do we got? Regardless, he's got some time left.
He's right around halfway.
All right, he's right around halfway. Well, let's talk about
way farther than I thought he was going to make it when we first brought this up.
Yeah, we'll keep the latest update on what he's got going. Right now, we got an update on a Hawaiian judge who has, or a judge in Hawaii. Sorry, not a Hawaiian judge. A judge in Hawaii has told somebody that they are not allowed to drink Pepsi for their 4-year probation. What exactly do you need to do to have a Pepsi ban on you? And what are the consequences if he does drink Pepsi? He can't just go buy it himself?
So 21-year-old Christopher Montiliano Jr., he decided that he really wanted some soda, or this is at least what he told the police. So he stole a car and then went to go get soda. Clearly got caught. He
as you
tried to
do.
lie. You know, tried to lie, say it was his cousin's car. That was false. Didn't even have a driver's license. So I don't know how he's not in more trouble. But yeah, the judge gave him 4 months of probation. He has to do 100 hours of community service. He gets a $100 fine, which also just doesn't seem like that much. But the to top it all off is he's not allowed to drink Pepsi for the 4 years. Fair or unfair?
I mean, it all seems very
Pepsi
unfair.
is his favorite soda.
I want to say it actually all seems really, really unfair. One, I think the consequences should have been much more than a soda withdrawal. And I don't know how you how do you manage this? I mean, who's really keeping the law on him right now? They got someone following him around right now? He got a constant tail. I mean, everybody, the drug testing for Pepsi, is that a thing? They got Pepsi strips.
It seems hard to enforce, right?
Seems impossible to enforce.
Like it's like no, I didn't drink Pepsi. I drank Coke. And they're like, sure you did, buddy. Yeah, your tests say right here.
Also,
Cola.
this doesn't seem like an individual who's going to be very feared out of the potential of getting caught drinking Pepsi. I mean, this guy just stole a car just to go get it. I mean, do you really think he's holding back now in these 4 years and being like, yeah, he's just be like, well, I was thirsty, so I went and got it. I know I wasn't supposed to. He told me 4 years, but I wanted to get my Pepsi. I mean, how is his mind? His mind has not changed at all. That's kind of why I'm thinking this is unfair. I think he's been undisciplined. I don't think he's been disciplined enough. This is not the answer right now. I think if anything, it's a story, and the guy's become famous when we're talking about it. Who knows where else this goes to? But to steal a car for something like that, I don't exactly know how easy that is to do. But that sounds like a lot of work for something that is not exactly a priority in most people's lives. Are you still a soda drinker? You used to drink a lot of soda. When you're in it right now, do you have to get it? You got to get your soda. Got to get that fix.
Well, I had myself a Pepsi over the weekend. It was celebrating the madness.
Oh, all right.
I was on basketball vacation.
Basketball vacation. Oh, all right. Are you still giving up soda? Is that a thing, or is it just Mountain Dew?
No, I didn't do it this year. No, I didn't do that this year. I just shaved my beard this year.
Yeah, I don't think you really don't drink that much soda, or at least I don't think you do. So I was always kind of shocked. No,
it was funny. That's one of the reasons that I didn't give it up for Lent, because going into Lent, I realized I hadn't had soda all year. So it seemed silly to give that up for something that I wasn't having anyway.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Makes a lot more sense than a 4-year probation for Pepsi.
No, 4 months.
4 months,
right?
I thought I got 4-year written down. Maybe that's my writing. I can't read the intern's writing. What can I say? Can't see.
Oh, no, 4 years. 4 years. No, maybe that's 4 years. That's a long time.
It is a long time.
Yeah, confirmed on the 4 years.
Now, is he allowed to have any other cola products?
It just says Pepsi. Just ordered him not to drink Pepsi for 4 years, after he told her it was his favorite soft drink. So if he was quick, he might have lied.
He should have said it was Coke. He'd be fine.
I don't know if he's quick or not.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he was. Maybe it was Coke, and he pulled off a Pepsi here.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy stole a car. Right?
Maybe
we're selling him short right now. Speaking of, I don't even know how I'm gonna get into this. We've got another cocktail thing here. What's going on in this truck mixing? This giant mixing truck is serving up cocktails
awesome.
right now. Is this like one of the cement trucks is mixing like a whole bunch of stuff in the back?
Yes, pretty much. It's even cooler than that. So it's the construction, the part that would hold. Oh man, it'd be tricky because I don't know any of the technical terms for this. So let me try to paint a picture for the pod. So you have the truck part, you have the part that holds the mixer part. The truck part and the holder look exactly like a cement mixer. But then rather than the part that holds the cement and spins around, that's kind of just like that big drum looking thing, it looks exactly like a blown up shaker. I'm talking it's chrome, it's shiny, it's got the top going on. And yeah, this is going on in Florida. I think it's an awesome publicity thing. You could create a party wherever you want it to be. It's the makers of Monkey Shoulder. It's a whiskey, and this is their mixer. It's a 27-foot long truck with 2,400 gallons of drink mixer on the back. and they're going to be serving cocktails at various locations in Orlando over the next week.
And
They're going to be serving. The drink features monkey shoulder whiskey, mint simple syrup, fresh lemon juice, soda, and mint leaves.
that actually sounds like a pretty reasonable cocktail right there. So is this like a food truck kind of
Right?
thing where it's just going to be driving around town and you can go get an order? I don't even know how does a liquor license work on that. There's a lot to this.
No, I can't. No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's like an ice cream truck. I think it's more of actually closer to your food truck idea of, hey, here's an event and we're gonna show up.
Okay, all right. So you're
And
being hired for an
well,
event, and these guys are coming, basically. It's almost like they're
yes.
catering to it, like, but rather than food, they're catering cocktails. That's kind of a cool
here's
idea.
so here's an example. They're gonna be on March 29th, so Friday, 5:30 to 10 at the Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace for a private charity poker event. So that's the example that I have. I thought there was gonna be more, but that's the kind of place that they're gonna be going to. Kind of tricked me there.
Oh, well, hey, maybe we could book them for our next party. That's it's an interesting idea. I'll definitely make sure to post a picture of the place.
It's definitely worth googling and taking a look at the picture because it really does look like with like some sort of sci-fi ray just took a regular size shaker and made it enormous.
It's a little gimmicky, but you know what's not anymore. I feel like that's the thing you got to do to separate yourself. The crazier, the better. And you made the podcast, so good job. I suppose that's the kind of crazy we're looking for. But sometimes things got to come to an end, and maybe they come to an end too soon, and maybe it comes abruptly. I'm hearing that the AAF, the Alliance, our new and improved football league to hold us over till the NFL season starts back up, is in struggles right now. How likely and what's going on right here that this may come to an end before we're ready to even get into it? I haven't even watched a game yet. What's the latest?
Well, you really might want to get on that. You might have already missed the boat. They're 7 games into a 10-game season. The head chairman, the one who we talked about in a few podcasts ago, put in $250 million of his own money to make sure that payroll happened because no one had gotten paid yet. He's saying, hey, if the NFL Players Association doesn't help out and give us some of their young players, this league can't be a developmental league and it's not going to work. So it's kind of trying to feel out, is this a power play? Is he just trying to strong arm the Players Association and saying, yeah, you know what? This will kind of be like the equivalent of the G League in basketball of, hey, you got drafted and you're not one of the top guys. You come play over here for a year or a couple of years while we'll try to see if you're worth it or not. Or is it legitimately, yeah, no, they're out of luck, and it said in the next couple of days they're going to make a decision.
I don't. They're not going to make a decision in the next couple of days. I think they're just trying to force a favorable decision in there. Well, at least if they were planning on making a decision in the next couple of days, they've had problems happening for a while now because they put a lot into it.
We already knew that they couldn't make payroll the first couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, I raised the red flag then. I thought it was done that day. I thought the second we talked about that story, I said this is over. That just seems crazy right now. You can't even afford to pay guys. You're not even making money yet? How people still got to get paid into all this, and the amount of work that must have taken to just get this far, to not have anyone being paid at that time, and then have to take out a huge loan, bunch of red flags everywhere. If this is gonna take off, like the big 3 right now, we're on year 3, I think, for the basketball 3-on-3 tournaments that they're having that Ice Cube's kind of set up. That took some time. I think this is the first year they may see a profit. This may be the first year they actually get some attention outside of just regular casual fans may actually care. This amateur football league or Alliance football league or whatever it is not going to get any momentum for a couple of years. It's not going to happen overnight. And so they're ready to throw in the towel already. They've been bleeding for a while now. All right, they'll be lucky to make it till next year is my guess. I think we've seen the last of it. It just is a shame, as I think it will work, but they gotta give everyone more time than this. They gotta get at least 3 years. I mean, what business turns a profit overnight? All right, this is just this shouldn't be shocking. What was shocking is that how nobody was getting paid though. So I think it's done. I think it's over. I think it's over before we even started. It's over before Johnny Football is not saving him. I don't know why everyone keeps thinking that.
It's fun to see him out there, especially all mic'd up.
Yeah, I think they need more of that. They need more faces on there. More people, more guys that people might actually know or people might actually want to see. I think they need a lot more social media. The NFL is kind of weird on letting their highlights loose on social media, versus the NBA is like totally whatever you want, just post whatever you want as many times as possible. I think they need to do more of that approach, just so people are constantly seeing that, as well as I don't know how you get people's attention on Sundays or Saturdays or whenever they're playing, but that's the time to go for it. All right, I guarantee people, if they knew football was on, they may go watch football. You got to know it's on. I don't know if enough people know about it. So I'm thinking that ship has sailed. I think it's over. You think
Yeah,
they
I'm glad I
make it?
didn't get invested in it.
You think they go next year?
Well, it seems like they might not even make it to the end of this year.
Oh no, they're not even going to finish out the year. I thought they were going to announce that like, hey, this is it. Like we're going to finish out the year. The worst thing they could do is not finish it out.
I'm not exactly sure. It seems like it might be right on the edge of folding, like in 2 days. Like they don't play this weekend.
Well, that seems like a. All right. Well, you know what? Like I said, maybe there's been problems for a while now, and they're lucky they even made it this far, which is really what it's starting to look like. And the red flag a couple podcasts ago that we talked about, of them asking for a whole bunch of money just to cover payroll, is frightening. And you know what I'd be really scared of, whether or not that money actually went to the players. Like, did they get paid? Did this check's cleared? Is their salary covered? Because if you're planning on shutting this down in a couple of days right now, man, I would be cashing that check immediately if I had anything. I would cash everything. I would just start selling stuff. I'd sell my equipment. You want a helmet? You want this rare commodity helmet of a football league that nobody cared about? Yeah, now's your chance.
Yeah, that seems like a tough sell.
Well, you know what else has kind of been a tough sell and is also coming to a little bit of an end here? Bigger, better baller brand is looking like it's getting shut down, or was it? What is it? I don't even know if that's right. The Lonzo Ball and LeVar Ball company, everybody seems to be like they're going their separate ways. There was a picture the other day that showed LeVar Ball covering up his Triple B tattoo with what did he do? He cover it with dice or something? I don't know. Anyways, he got rid of the tattoo, and Lonzo already made a statement that he is no longer going to be affiliated with it, and that he's going to be stepping away, and that he actually may have a lawsuit with somebody else within the company over some lost funds. Apparently, he trusted somebody who had access to his money, and they haven't been, I guess, performing in a responsible manner, and there's some money missing, and a whole bunch there.
It's not just some money. It's not just some funds. It was $1.5 million that the guy couldn't account for.
Yeah, which, seeing how he's only played 2 years, that feels like almost all of it, right? Outside of his normal spending and probably other things he bought immediately. He probably
it's all part of the it's part of the company. It's not like all like Lonzo specific money. It's the company's money. I don't know exactly how it all works out.
You have to imagine
it's still a lot of money.
You have to imagine he put a lot in. I mean, how many other like investors do you think they really had? He must have been a primary source, I have to imagine. Anyways, we've talked about these guys nonstop for a whole year. They've kind of quieted down. The Lakers aren't making the playoffs. He's been hurt for a little bit. LeVar's kind of shut up a little bit. After it's all said and done, these guys didn't make it. Are you shocked by that, or is this the last we've heard of them? Is this the last we've heard of LeVar Ball? Because after this company kind of crashes,
absolutely not.
You think we're gonna hear more?
Way. Oh, probably. He's got another son that's about to come onto the scene.
All right, so this is no news or some news?
Oh, this is definitely news.
The
guy stole $1.5 million. That's a heist. That's a movie.
Yeah. All right. Well,
it's awful.
Can you really say you're shocked by it though? Just the way this guy's kind of handled everything. I'm not shocked by it. When you want to charge $300 for sneakers that aren't going to come out from a year from now, actually, I think it was more than that. It just seemed like a weird business model to begin with. They went for it. It didn't work. I
expect them to kind of fail on their own because they're too expensive. But
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the future is.
For fraud and embezzlement, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it can't be that unfortunate. Anyways, we got about a couple minutes left here in the podcast. I want to thank everybody for always listening. Make sure you go check out the website, lcalcb.com. Check out Zach's Twitter, which is
WickedZman24.
And check out soldbywill.com for all your San Diego real estate needs. I also want to remind everybody that we do have podcast t-shirts available. Just go to the website. That'll be on there, lcalcb.com. You can buy the t-shirts. Lots of good stuff on there. Show your support and definitely check your bracket. I want to remind everybody, all the listeners, again, to keep an eye on your brackets. Because last year we had a winner and we weren't able to contact them. Or we did reach out to them. They didn't get back to us. So if you are in contention, it sounds like we know a couple people at the top, but that may change. Keep an eye on your stuff, all right? We want to make sure we get the correct prizes to the correct people. With all that being said, anything else you really want to talk about here? Let me just wrap it up. We got the music queued up.
No, I'm excited for basketball to start back up. The Barstool guys kind of mentioned how this past Monday might be one of the worst Mondays because you went from 4 days of all the basketball you could handle to just there's nothing. And I kind of tend to agree with them. I had to watch some of the NIT games yesterday just to tide me over.
You know, the NIT is funny. I mean, it's the same kind of madness. I don't understand why it doesn't get nearly the amount of attention. I mean, if anything, sometimes there's some crazier games on there. They're just a little bit more well balanced. I don't know.
Well, the teams aren't as good.
Yeah, but none of the teams are. I don't think any of the teams are truly exceptional in college. I mean, it still feels amateur. I mean, last week where I was watching some college games, obviously, and then I'd watch some NBA games after. And it's like, wow, you could see the difference immediately. The quality of play, the style of play, the zone, the traps, the press, like that. I think that's what the tournament really is about, and you get a lot of that still in the NIT. Plus, I feel like Syracuse is destined for an NIT run soon. I don't know. It's we're in a weird spot over there. I don't know where that's going to play out. But
all your eggs in the Buddy Boeheim basket.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, we got like 1 minute left here. Any bold predictions going forward? What do you got? Give us something to run with that we can make fun of ourselves for next week.
Zion's gonna break a backboard.
Oh, Zion's gonna break a backboard. I think my bold ones are. I'm sticking with I think Auburn's gonna win, and I think Oregon's gonna win. I think you're gonna see two number one seeds fall out this week. You heard it here first.
Ooh, there you go.
We'll be back. Thank you as always for listening.
Little column A, little column B.